It's Ralph Emery, live from Nashville, Tennessee. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Ralph Emery.
Well, thank you, Gary Beatty, and hi, everybody. This is the second appearance by the super talented Ray Stevens on our show. A quick resume: he has won 2 Grammys, one for Everything is Beautiful and one for his bluegrass version of Misty. He's also won 9 Music City News Awards for Comedian of the Year. He sold millions of records and millions of videos. In 1980, he went into the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame. And now we welcome back Ray Stevens. Ray, nice to have you back.
Nice to be back. Thank you.
How you doing?
Oh, fantastic.
I learned something tonight from Mike Shepard, who came with you. And Mike's an old friend of mine. I learned that you were, in one of your past lives, you were a Jordanaire.
Well, occasionally. When one of the Jordanaires would get sick and not be able to make a session, why Gordon Stoker would call me from time to time and say, hey, can you fill in for so-and-so? And I was more than happy to, and very honored to do so.
So which part did you sing?
Whatever part was missing.
So whose records did you sing on?
I don't remember them all, but Johnny Cash was one. And
you were a Jordanaire on a Johnny Cash record.
Yep.
It's amazing the things you've done. Well, tonight I want to start with an email to this program from a gentleman named Dennis Seibert from Des Moines. He said, Ray, back in the late 50s or early 60s, there was a song out called Butch Bavarian, a novelty tune similar to the ones you've done over the years. Was that you? I remember the chorus.
Well,
so
yes,
was that you?
That was me. I don't think there were any covers on that particular song, and on purpose I spelled Bavarian Barbarian because I didn't want to have the beer people mad at me. But it was about a sure-footed mountain climber, world-famous yodeling champion, and he'd go up on top of an Alp and go, and one day he was doing that and a bird flew in his mouth, and he had choked to death. They got him to the hospital and asked him, said, what did you swallow? He said, I swallowed a swallow. And they operated and found the bird nesting on a bunch of eggs in the pancreas. And when they opened him up, the birds went and I was really reaching for that one. But that was in 1963 or 4, I think.
Okay. Well, Dennis said that he remembers the chorus. And so, Dennis, tonight, if you're watching, when we have the phone segment after a while, I would like for you to call in and maybe hum a few bars of Butch Barbarian or
Barbarian.
It's Barbarian, isn't
Barbarian.
it? Okay. Now then, I want to talk about your new record, Smoky Mountain Rattlesnake Retreat. Tell me about it.
Well, it's a song that Buddy Kalb wrote. He also wrote the Mississippi Squirrel Revival for me. And it's about a couple who decide that instead of going on vacation one summer, they'd like to go on a Bible camp retreat. And so they get the directions and they take off and get lost in the mountains of East Tennessee. And it's getting dark and they see the lights of a little church back in the woods, and they go back there and go down, and the preacher welcomes them in, and they sit in the very first pew. And a guy next to them, they preach and sing songs, and then things quieted down. They turn down the lights, and the guy hands him a snake. And the chorus goes, and that was the night that me and Doris went running through the forest, way back up in the hills of Tennessee. Whoa, we started making tracks when they broke out the Diamondbacks. Sure scared the devil out of poor old Doris and me.
Well, let's put a picture with that, if you will. Let's join Ray Stevens in another fashion, in animation.
chorus went on vacation. We wanted more than recreation, so we enrolled in a Bible camp retreat.
We'll send that down to Bill Mack. I understand you were on with Bill this afternoon on the
Oh, yeah.
on the
Well,
XM.
yes, as a matter of fact.
And he's playing the record.
Oh, bless his heart. Thank you, Bill.
Did something happen in your life to create this idea?
What idea?
The idea we just saw on the screen.
Oh, well, like I say, Buddy Calb wrote this
Buddy
song.
wrote the song.
And something happened in my life that created the desire to record it, and that was that Buddy said, "Here, listen to this."
I used to know Steve Allen. He would come down to Nashville occasionally, and
Oh, yeah.
he had a little tape recorder he took with him everywhere. And if he observed something that he thought was a writing idea, he would just make a recording of it.
Yeah.
Now, I wondered if your writing occurs because of things you observe in your environment.
Oh, sure, yeah. And I don't have a recorder. I probably should. But I just make notes, little pieces of paper, and got them all. I've lost them, a bunch of them, but I usually try to check on my pockets every night and see how many ideas I have.
So you
stashed
do
away.
write them down.
Oh, sure, yeah. Ideas.
You get bored easily?
Yeah. Most people do. I mean,
Well, you said last time you were here, you said you wrote The Streak because you were bored and you were looking at a magazine on a plane,
Yeah.
and suddenly you read about streaking.
Well, on a 4.5 hour flight, you do get bored, and the magazines in there are really, some of them are really old. I mean, they had one with Roosevelt on the cover, Teddy Roosevelt. And but I did find one that was current, and it had a story about a college student took off his clothes and ran through a crowd, and they called it streaking, and I thought, there's an idea. So I made notes and got home and wrote the song.
And it was the 16th record out on that subject.
Something like that,
It was the
yeah.
only one that hit.
Yeah. There were a bunch of them out on streaking at that time.
You want to tell these people about our breakfast group?
Well, sure. We meet, as you know, every Saturday morning at a local place and have breakfast. And there's usually 10 or 12 of us there. We got a big round table over in the corner. And it's Ralph and I and George Lindsay and a guy named Do Right Sullivan. He got the name when he was a car salesman, and the full name is Do Right Sullivan, the working girl's friend. And we have Naro Wilson, who's a retired record producer. He used to do Kenny Chesney's records, for example, among others. Reba, I think he cut some Reba things. And he cut Sammy Kershaw's hits, a couple of his hits. Meanwhile, who else is there?
Didn't this group start when Chet was still living?
Yeah, Chet used to be in our group. And
wasn't this kind of a let's go cheer Chet up?
well, no, it at one point it was, but before Chet contracted, I should say, his final dose of cancer, why it was just, Chet was just one of the group, and nobody tried to cheer him up. He tried to cheer us up, as a matter of fact.
A lot of joke telling at these
yeah.
sessions.
Sure.
And we talk about everything under the sun. And you want to mention the fact that you're thinking about making a sitcom out of this idea?
Well, I'd rather
Hold that.
yeah, but
Okay.
there is a sitcom in the works, and we're going to shoot it in July. And a lot of people that you folks out there watching are going to be in it that you'll know. And I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's a unique idea. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's all I want to say about it.
Okay, you have your own video studio,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to clear up some confusion. I've read several of your bios preparing for this show.
Uh-huh.
So was it Bill Lowry or Ken Nelson who changed your name?
Ken Nelson. Bill was my publisher in Atlanta. And we came to Nashville to record, and Ken was the producer. And we made my first record, and he said, I don't like the name Ray Ragsdale, which is my real name. And I said, well, he said, can't we change that? I said, well, you know, I think you'd make my mama mad if you changed my name. And he said, well, what's your mama's maiden name? And I said, Stevens. He said, Ray Stevens. I said, well, hey, well, you're going to make my dad mad. He said, well, we can't make everybody happy. But Ken was of that mindset. He changed Jerry Reed's name from Jerry Hubbard to Jerry Reed. He changed, probably changed Sonny James' name from Sonny Loden to Sonny James. He probably changed Tommy Sands' name. No telling how many people he changed their names. I don't know if he changed Ferlin Husky's name or not.
Well, there's that possibility.
We'll have to check that out.
We're talking to Ray Stevens, and we will continue with our conversation right after this. We're talking tonight to Harold Ray Ragsdale, renamed Ray Stevens. By the way, is that what's your legal name?
Either one.
Really?
Yeah, and you know, I'm not a lawyer, but I've asked, and I've been told that I'm legal either way.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm glad we got that settled.
Yeah, me too.
You, I want to read something for you. Before I came over here tonight, I got on the computer and I typed in cell phone laws. And this says a jurisdiction-wide ban on driving while talking on a handheld cellular phone is in place in 6 states: California, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, Utah, and Washington, and the District of Columbia. And I think in California it takes place July the 1st.
Mm.
When did you write this song about hang up and drive?
This is another Buddy Cab song, and it's just a wonderful song. And it was, 5 years ago, at least.
This song, this smacks of being controversial.
Well, I mean, you know, it's kind of a funny song. You know, the words are, she was sitting way up in a big SUV, putting on her makeup, had the curling iron plugged into the dash, and looked to do something, and that's when she heard the crash. And she was talking on her cell phone, and that's when she heard the crash.
So this is another example of you writing about what's happening in our culture.
Well, me singing about it in this case, yeah.
And it's a song that is on video and on a record. Anyway, here's Buddy Cab and Ray Stevens' take on this subject, a very important subject in our culture. You may like it or you may not.
He had a cheeseburger in one hand, French fries propped up on the seat, an ice cold cola in his cup holder, and to make the scene complete, he was searching for a pen and paper to make a note of things to take home. Still, he might have missed that concrete truck, but he was talking on his mobile phone. Hang up and drive, you're driving me crazy. Put down that phone with both hands on your steering wheel.
How do you feel about that?
I agree with the sentiment expressed in that song. I think it's dangerous, and it certainly does slow down traffic when you got somebody in front of you talking on a cell phone. I mean, they're not paying attention.
That, by
in
the
a
way,
lot of cases. Except when I do it, it's okay.
I read somewhere where you do a show on the BBC radio network, BBC Two.
Yeah, we did a special. I went in a studio, and we had a direct line, and I spoke with the interviewer at some length for an hour and a half or so, and they, you know, chopped it up and interspersed recordings and made a show. How long was that show, Mike? 2 hour show, and it was a lot of fun, you know.
So do they still run that?
They have run it quite a few times, and I don't understand the way they operate over there totally, but there's BBC One, BBC Two, and BBC Three, and BBC 18 or so, I don't know.
Australia, New Zealand.
Do what?
Australia.
Australia.
New Zealand, yeah, and it covers pretty much a lot of the British Empire, and they repeat them, and
Were all these songs that were hits in the United States, were they hits worldwide?
well, most of them in the English-speaking countries.
How about the Shriners Convention?
I'm not sure.
I wouldn't think that
I don't think
that
they're
wouldn't fit
Shriners
some
over
of the other cultures.
there. Yeah. However, Bridget the Midget, the Queen of the Blues, was a big hit in England, and it wasn't that big here because we had started going into the politically correct mindset. It was just the beginning of that, and
Who were you picking on?
small
Midgets?
people, I guess. I didn't mean to. I mean, I didn't even think about offending anybody, and if I did, I certainly apologize.
I looked at that video today, and you've got this little character dancing, tap dancing.
Yeah.
How did you do that? How did you get that sound?
Oh, I got Shirley's shoes.
Shirley's your secretary.
No, wait a minute. I got some tap shoes from somewhere. Somebody was a tap dancer. I said, bring in your shoes, or their daughter. And so I got them, and I put the mic on the floor, and I stood like that. And we overdubbed it. Yeah.
Okay, it worked.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I don't remember a record you made called "I Need Your Help, Barry Manilow."
I Need Your Help, Barry Manilow.
What did you need from Barry Manilow?
Well, the punchline is, I need your help, Barry Manilow. I'm all torn up and I don't know what to do. Sing me a song, sing it sad and low. Nobody knows how to suffer quite like you. And
Let's talk a bit about, and this might be instructive for songwriters. Sergeant Preston. That was a mistake, wasn't it?
well, not really. I think they might have gone for it if we'd have schmoozed them a little bit. But I didn't know you had to get permission to use a known character. And so I wrote a song called Sergeant Preston Yukon about the famous red-coated Mountie and his dog King, on you great husky, woo, 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 woo. And we had wind on the record, you know, and it was in the frozen north of the Yukon lived the king of the Royal Mounted Fuzz. Sergeant Preston was his name, King, his dog's name was. And it goes on and on. And we put the record out, and it was taken off. And we got a letter from King Features Syndicate, I think, who owned the character at the time. They may still own him. And said, you know, cease and desist. And so we, of course, had to. I think if we'd have called him up and said, hey, you know, this is not making fun of Sergeant Preston, it might increase his popularity, but we didn't do that. I think I was 18 years old at the time.
So you were stubborn.
Well, no, I wasn't stubborn. I just didn't know how to try to convince him to let me do it.
Okay. We're going to take a break, and we're going to open the phone lines, and you can talk to Ray Stevens. This is our phone segment, and we're going to start with a phone call from Missouri, the Show Me State. Tony is up there. Hi, Tony.
Hey, Ralph, how's everything going?
We're fine, thank you. What can we do for you?
Well, I'd like to congratulate you on the fine program that you're putting on.
Thank you.
And I have a question for Ray.
All right.
Ray,
Yeah.
I'd like to know whatever become of that movie that you were supposed to make when you closed up your theater in Branson.
You mean that was in 91?
Yeah.
92, actually. Yeah,
Oh,
well, I made
somewhere in there.
Yeah, 90, 91, 90. Yeah, I made the movie, and we released it as an item that we sold direct over cable channels. Call the 800 number and get it. I'm sorry and amazed that you didn't see the ads, but that's the only place we sold it was direct. I didn't put it for release in theaters.
What was the name of it?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, hey,
Well,
one of these
sorry
days
I
we might
missed you.
re-edit and do that.
What was the name of the picture?
It was called Get Serious.
Okay, but
Yeah.
Okay, Tony, thank you.
Thank you, Ralph, and good show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We've got a guy that he writes to me all the time. His name is Wainwright, or I never know whether it's Wainwright or Right Wayne. But anyway, he has a question for you. He wants to know, what was the idea for the song Misty?
Well, that was kind of an accident. We were in the studio. I say we, my road band and I were in my little studio here in Nashville, rehearsing for a television show we were going to shoot the following day. And during one of the breaks in the rehearsal, we started clowning around with Misty, that being such a classic jazz piece with the major seventh chords and all. And we were doing it with banjo and a fiddle and a steel just for fun. Weren't making fun of the song, but just as sort of a rude departure from the normal strings and jazz feel of, say, Johnny Mathis record or something like that. And it started sounding so good, I called the engineer. He was at home. And I said, get in here, we need to record something real quick. And he came in, and we cut it in 2 takes. And then overdubbed the background singers, and sure enough, it clicked.
Yeah, it was a big hit for you.
Yeah.
Let's go to Indiana and to Randall. Hi, Randall.
Hello, Ray and Ralph. How are you?
Good.
Good.
All right. The question is, back in '69 or '70, Mercury Records released the Best of LP while you had just started your career at Monument. You had a live version of Ahab the Arab that Ralph introduced live. Where was that recorded?
Ahab the Arab. I cut Ahab the Arab in '62, the original version, which was in a studio.
Right.
And then the second version, I think, might have been in the Guitarzan album.
Yes.
And that was also done in a studio too, but I just added the audience like a television show does, you know?
Right.
And so I was just trying to create a little excitement with another dimension there.
Yeah, but this version of Guitarzan was live in a club somewhere.
Was it Guitarzan?
Yeah, no, Ahab the Arab.
Did I introduce it?
Yes, you did.
Ah.
I did.
I wasn't aware of that recording. I wasn't aware that was out or being played.
It's on Mercury LP 69 or 70, the Best of Ray Stevens, one of the two they released consecutive years there. I'm the one who has everything from Sgt. Preston 45 to your latest. I have everything on LP, CD, and cassette you've ever done, everything.
Well, you got more than I do because I don't remember that one.
and you've also released a lot of songs early in your career and re-recorded. One of my favorites is Furthermore, which is on your first LP, 1,837 Seconds of Humor, and also He Thinks He's Ray Stevens, the Furthermore cut.
Okay. Did I cut
Furthermore?
Yeah.
And Furthermore?
Yeah. And on top of that, I don't love you anyway.
That's it.
He knows more about you than you do.
He certainly does.
Randall, I have to go. Thank you for your very interesting phone call.
All right. Thank you, Ray. Ralph. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Okay, Michael Smith, Jackson, Kentucky. And he mentions he wants us to have Charlie Walker on the show. And, Michael, I'll take that under advisement. Let's go to our next phone call. Could you put that up, please? John from Georgia. All right, John from Georgia. Here's Ray from Georgia. Hey, John.
Yeah. Hey, we're Georgia boys.
Yes.
What's on your mind, John?
I wanted to ask you a question, and I'll tell you why. Have you ever recorded with Cletus Maggard?
Cletus Maggard.
He done the White Knight CV stuff.
I don't know.
in the do-rights, it sounded like he was one of the do-rights.
Well, no, I was all of the do-rights.
Okay.
But I don't think I've ever recorded with Cletus Maggard. I've heard the name, though.
Okay, well, I really enjoy your stuff. I think you're crazy, but I enjoy it.
Thank you, John. I think you're crazy. I think you're right, John. Janice Shivers sent me an email, and she mentioned that she had seen the Glazer Brothers on RFD TV, and she loves them, and she expressed her admiration for the Glazer Brothers, Tom and Jim, and Tom Paul, and Jim and Chuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
I produced a record on Jim.
Jim Glazer?
Yeah, back in the old Monument days.
Good singer.
Oh, wow. Well, you know, that was them on El Paso with Marty.
Right. Let's go. Well, this is going to be local. Casey from Tennessee. Casey, where are you?
I'm in New Bern, Tennessee.
Okay. What do you have on your mind?
I was wondering if Ray Stevens would sing his Hurricane song from his new CD.
Yeah, well, I'd love to, Casey, but I don't have a piano here tonight. And
You did a song called Katrina, didn't you?
no, it's called Hurricane.
Okay. It's about Katrina.
Yeah, well, Katrina and Ivan and Isidore and all those hurricanes.
Casey, I'm sorry we can't oblige you, but thank you for calling. Neil Mason of Galesville, Alabama says, have Louise Mandrell on the show. Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Jurgy, J-U-R-G-Y from Illinois. Where are you, Jurgy?
I'm right here, Ralph. I enjoy you, and I love Ray Stevens. A question before I ask Ray his question. Whatever happened to Darlene Austin?
I get a Christmas card from her every year. I know she's in Nashville, and she tells me she's still writing songs. I will say this.
Okay.
Darlene finally got married.
Okay.
And we thought she would never get married, but she did.
Okay. And Ray, do you know what song has got the most letters in it? It's 89 letters.
89 letters in the title, you mean?
In the title song, yes.
I don't know. Jeremiah Peabody's Polly.
You're right. You do, yes. and the song that's got the most words is 21 words in a song title, 1951 by Fred Astaire and Jane Powell. And yours was 1961.
Okay. Is that a question?
Well, no. I mean, just a comment to Ray. I love Ray. I don't think he gets enough recognition, to be honest with you, in that.
What was the song with the most words?
How could you believe me when I said I love you when you know I've been a liar all my life?
Okay. Okay. I've got to go. I thank you for calling. You know what we're going to do next week? I'm going to have some folks on this show that I don't think they've ever been interviewed. Crook and Chase. I'm going to have them on this show, and I'm going to interview them. And we're going to straighten out everything about Crook and Chase, who, of course, appear on this network. But I don't think they've ever been a guest on a show. So we're going to take care of that. We're with Ray Stevens tonight, and we'll be right back after this. We are visiting tonight with Ray Stevens. Have you ever gone to? Do you like to play with a computer?
You know, I haven't gotten into that yet. That's one of the things on my list to do, and I'm going to get a computer one of these days and figure it out. But I can't even turn one on right now. Sorry to say.
That surprises me because years ago you came to a radio show I used to, a syndicated show, and you brought a floppy disk.
I did.
And it was the first time I'd ever even heard of a floppy disk. I thought you were really computer literate. Well, anyway, getting back to my point, I looked up Ray Stevens. I Googled you.
I beg your pardon.
I found out there was another Ray Stevens. He was a wrestler. They called him the Crippler. And he was 5'8.5", weighed 235. And he had a wrestling career. Midnight Special. Let's talk about that. I want to play a little bit of that.
The Moonlight Special.
Well, I know, but it's NBC used to have a television show. It followed Johnny Carson on Friday night, called the Midnight Special. It was a big rock and roll review.
Wolfman Jack.
Wolfman Jack, whose real name was Bob Smith.
Okay.
And anyway, you must have been a fan of the show.
Well, I saw it several times, yeah.
And you created some characters. Who's your character here?
Well, the sheepdog instead of Wolfman. And there were 3 acts on the show: Mildred Queen and the Dips, Agnes Stupor, and Jerry Joe Jimmy Lee Harry Billy.
And that's a takeoff on Jerry Lee Lewis.
Well, I mean, could be. I'm not going to admit
All right,
it.
Let's go to the videotape, and we'll take you to the Moonlight Special.
And in case you're wondering, you're listening and watching moonlight special. And this is the old sheepdog, sheepdog, sheepdog. Oh, oh, oh. And now to really lay it down for you, here to get it on. Hang on, Snoopy, 'cause here he is, the king of the piano rockers himself. Here he is, J. Joe Hadley, Jimmy Billy.
What is amazing about Ray Stevens is that he is all the voices on these records, these videos. You do, and you play all the instruments.
Well, not all of them, but a lot of them, yeah.
Most of them you play.
Yeah.
That's remarkable.
Wow. I love to get in the studio and experiment and work. That's what I've done most of my life, so, you know.
Your hobby is your creativity, isn't it?
Yeah, somebody said a long time ago, do something you like in life and you'll never work a day in your life. So,
That's true.
yeah.
I want to ask you about a period in your life when you worked for Monument Records. You produced Dolly Parton, didn't you?
Yeah, you know, one or two sessions on her. We tried really hard, and I thought we cut some great records. But, I mean, it was just time wasn't right or something, so I didn't have any success with her. But
what did she did Dumb Blondes over there at Monument? Did you produce that record?
I don't think so. I produced a song called Busy Signal with her. And I thought that was a hit because the background singers went, busy signal, that's what I get when I call him. You know, and I thought, boy, that's got a shot, but nobody. We ran it up the flagpole, nobody saluted. So.
Well, but it shows you're here again. It shows your creativity. I guess all ideas don't work.
Well, that's true. And I remember one of the things when we first started the project to record with my producing Dolly, she came out to the house to rehearse, and Penny was really
interested.
Really watching, mother henning the whole deal, you might say.
And you're talking about your wife.
My wife, yes.
And Dolly shows up.
Dolly shows up, and Penny was going, hi.
And right away, you had somebody on your neck.
Oh yeah, well, I had no designs on. I just wanted to make a record.
I want you to. When you were here last time, I felt like we were we didn't do you justice. We didn't talk about the Shriners Convention. Tell me the story of that record.
We had played a show in Atlanta and booked the rooms for us to stay months before, and didn't know that the Shriners were having a convention in Atlanta. And it just so happened that the hotel we had booked was their headquarters. And that night, after the show, we're trying to sleep, and they're running up and down the halls with motorcycles and everything. I mean, it was just pandemonium. And there was a drink machine, a cold drink machine outside my room that was broken. And, well, what do you do when you put in your 50 cents and nothing comes out? You kick the machine. And so I didn't get any sleep that night. And I looked out at one point, and there was a motorcycle in the swimming pool.
There really was?
Yeah, oh yeah. And so I thought, man, these guys, they deserve a song. And so I had to write that song.
Well, now, didn't you take it and play it for the Shriners?
Oh, yeah. I got their blessing before I put it out, because I really like the Shriners. I love the Shriners. They're one of the greatest groups of guys in the world. They have a lot of fun, but they raise a lot of money, and they spend it all on good causes, burn hospitals, children's hospitals. And one of the things I found out about their charities is there is no overhead. They don't deduct an administrative cost. Every penny, if you donate it to the Shriners, the kids get it and the burn victims get it.
You and this was one of your better efforts.
Well, it was I think it was my first release on RCA. I just signed with RCA Records, and so. I
want to play about 40 seconds of the video from the Shriners Convention. This is a parade, and it looks like you were downtown Nashville.
We were on Broadway.
And it's a real Shrine parade.
It's a real Shriners parade, and I think there was a circus, and the Shrine Circus was in town.
Yeah, they come down Main Street, drums are flailing and sirens are wailing. What a roar! Bands are playing, flags are waving, vanguards and motorcycle corps. Clowns are a-clowning to the crowd and pinching every pretty girl who dares to smile. It's a glorious mess, everybody wears a fez, the parade stretches out for a mile. It's a typical American phenomenon where all the members have a fine old time. It's the 43rd Annual Convention of the Grand Mystic Royal Order of the Nobles of the Alibaba Temple of the Shrine.
Oh, that's just the beginning of that video. It goes on and on. You got Coy and Bubba.
Oh, yeah.
And all these characters that you created for that.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with it.
What happened? Didn't you donate your motorcycle?
Yeah, one of those motorcycles, I bought it later, one of those blue and white Shriner bikes, and I used to ride it on stage during the show, especially in Branson, and because it's kind of cumbersome to take a motorcycle on the road, but when you're at one location, you can do that. And after I stopped doing that show in Branson, I gave the motorcycle to the Shrine Temple here in Nashville.
Did they auction that?
No, I think they've got it in the lobby of the temple there.
Okay.
And they may auction it. You know, I told them just to use it any way they wanted to raise money for their charities.
We got 1 minute. Are you back on the road now?
Going back after 2-year hiatus starting June 21st.
Well, I hope you'll come out and see Ray if he's in your neighborhood. It's a great show. I saw you when you were out at Opryland.
Yeah, at the Acuff Theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next week, Crook and Chase will be here. I hope you will too. Ray Stevens, I thank you so much for sharing your talents with us tonight.
Thank you, Ralph.
Good luck with everything you do.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Good night, everybody.